Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at Barcelona, some of the realistic signings they can make, and some ways that you can improve their squad if you decide to try and win the league with them in FIFA 21. On the screen right now, I've put a confusing looking Excel spreadsheet, but if you know me by now, you should know that I love Excel. What it contains is the amount of people in each position, the overall average, the potential average, and then a grade of how strong that position is. You can see for Barcelona, they're very strong in goal and at left back, which if we look at the player list I have on the left hand side, you'll see that very much is the case. With Junior Firpo and Jordi Alba both being high rated and having good potential, that position's strong and it's not going to change anytime soon. Same in goal, Ter Stegen and Neto both decent players, so the average there is good. But of course you probably know which areas of the squad are strong, and you're watching this video to see where you can improve. So Barcelona actually have 3 or 4 weak positions, if you can believe it. They might not be weak compared to the other teams, but by the rest of the squad, they are very below average. The first of these positions is indeed right back, where they have both Dest and Roberto. While Dest does have the potential to be one of the best right backs in the game, Sergi Roberto's already peaked at 83 overall. While you're waiting for Dest to get up to his potential, this could become a problem. The position score is also being dragged down by Andres Solano, who's unlikely to have the talent to ever make it into the Barcelona first team. If you want to see some recommendations of players you can find for each position, I'll put them all at the end of the video and we'll talk through why they'd be realistic for Barcelona. But now moving up the field, we're going to have a look at striker. This is one of the most fun positions to improve a player in a FIFA career mode, and Barcelona are averaging a 76 overall with 79 potential here, which you can imagine is well below Barcelona standards. This is brought up by Griezmann being one of the best strikers on the game, but then the next best strikers being Martin Braithwaite and Ray Manage, who are both not good enough for Barcelona compared to the rest of the team. If you can get by with just Griezmann, then this is fine, or if you want to try and play Messi at striker too, that might be working, but you'll probably want to sign a backup striker around 82 to 85 rated to try and cover Griezmann. Or you could be ambitious and try and sign someone like Haaland, but that's totally up to you. All the suggestions, as I said, will be at the end. The overall worst position for Barcelona is left wing. Of course, you could easily train Dembele or Messi to play left wing, although Messi will probably retire before he learns the position. With just 3 players and averaging 69 overall, left wing is not good enough for Barcelona. They have a couple of rising talents in this position, of course. Ansu Fati, when he reaches his potential, would be one of the best left wingers on the game, and Pedri too, although he counts as a left midfielder in FIFA's database. Conrad de la Fuente and Hiroki Abe are both probably not going to be good enough at their peak, as they are both around 80 rated potential. This is another position you might want to strengthen, although if you can, play either Dembele out of position as he is left footed, or you could just make do by developing Ansu Fati and Pedri, but either way you might consider buying a new player at left wing. The final position we're going to have to try and strengthen when you're playing as Barcelona is central attacking midfielder. Coutinho is one of the most expensive players ever, but he's only 83 overall on this year's FIFA. The next best attacking midfielder is Mateus Pereira, who's 68 overall, so again, you're probably going to struggle to impact games using him on FIFA. His potential once more is not going to be good enough at his peak, so you're probably going to have to try and invest in a high potential centre attacking midfield to take over Coutinho's position when he starts aging. So that's the quick overview of where Barcelona needs to strengthen. It's going to be right back, attacking midfield, left wing and striker, because even though Barcelona do have good players in these positions, they usually just have one with no backup, or they have someone with really high potential but isn't quite the finished article yet. You might want to consider not buying the left winger, as I mentioned, because for the time being, Ousmane Dembele can definitely cover as a left winger if he gets retrained, and Fati and Pedri are both going to be superstars. So moving over to some suggested players now. Depending on how you play with your fullbacks, I do have a couple of different suggestions. My first suggestion would be Jesus Corona. At Porto, he's a very attacking fullback, so if you're going to try and recreate someone like Dani Alves at right back, he's probably the man. He's got decent pace, amazing stamina, he's really good on the ball going forward and defending, and although he isn't the tallest, he's good at getting the crosses into the box if you do try and sign a target man like Harry Kane or Erling Haaland. If you prefer your fullbacks to be a bit faster and don't care about him being good on the ball, then Hector Bellerin is another option for you. Of course, he used to play for Barcelona, so that could be a fairly realistic signing, and he's got worse stamina but a bit more pace, and of course he's not quite as good on the ball. His work rates could be a bit of a problem too. They're high-low, but it works for Marcelo, so it could work for Hector Bellerin. Moving up the pitch to centre attacking midfield, again you've got a lot of choices depending on how much budget you have to spend. If you want to go big, someone like Bruno Fernandes would definitely fit in at Barcelona. The same could be said for Paulo Dybala too, but if you think Coutinho can fill in here and you're just looking for a backup, there's a few choices for that too. Making a move for Dani Olmo at RB Leipzig is almost certainly going to be around a third of the price of getting someone like Bruno Fernandes, and at his peak he will be at a similar level. The same could be said for people like Mason Mount or Lewis Miller at Granada. Either way, if you want to improve this position even at a backup level, it's probably going to cost you around 20 to 50 million euros. Unfortunately, you'll also need to keep some of your budget to improve your striker and left winger. These are probably the two most expensive positions in the game, so let's have a look at some of the options we have here. If you want to go big, the obvious left winger is bring back Neymar. Of course, Neymar can also cover centre attacking midfield, but it's unlikely you're going to have the 200 million euros to buy him back unless you make some serious deals on your outgoing players. It might be a bit cheaper if you save money and go for someone like Memphis Depay or Mikel Oyarzabal, who are both in their prime and only going to get slightly better than they already play. Of course, you don't want a young player here who's going to be blocking Fati and Pedri's game time. If you do sign an older player to play left wing, they'll probably be retiring around the time that Pedri and Fati reach their potentials, so you won't be losing out too much there. The final weakness, of course, as I previously mentioned, is striker. This is a position you can either go all out or just make do with Griezmann for the time being. You could sign someone who's almost as good as Griezmann and going to overtake him soon, like Lautaro Martinez, or you could go and spend your entire budget on an Mbappe, a Haaland, or a Harry Kane. Of course, striker is another position that Fati can play, so if you want to try and develop him to be the perfect striker, that's another way you could go about this. But in my opinion, he's better suited for left wing, and you could sign someone like a Richarlison or a Gabriel Jesus to play at striker instead. It all depends on the kind of playstyle that you have, although there aren't too many young, good target men out there, so you might have to go older if you want a target man like a Lukaku, but again, that's totally up to you and how much budget you have left. I think Barcelona is probably one of the easiest teams to go realistic with, because of course with the amount of money they have and the fact they're probably in the top 5 biggest teams in the whole of football, there's not many players that would say no, and they do have a history of signing players from every country. Even England, they've had like Lineker in the past, so you can really sign whoever you want here. The fact that Messi is on the verge of retiring also means that you could sign anyone, and they'd probably be happy because they'd be Barcelona's next big star player. That's a big reason why people think that Mbappe might end up there, but really Barcelona could probably sign any player in the world except maybe a Lewandowski or a Cristiano Ronaldo, and it wouldn't be too unrealistic. Of course, wherever possible, avoid signing players from Real Madrid, but again, this is a thing that has happened in the past, so I'll leave that up to you if you think you could do that realistically. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, first in a new series. If you have any suggestions for other clubs that you think I could do in this series like this, then do let me know and I'll try and make a whole load of videos on the teams this summer. So thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers and bye.